You know that feeling when a movie just stays with you long after the credits have rolled? Well, a lot of the time, the most powerful moments aren't even in the dialogue. Today, we're going to decode the unspoken language of cinema, all the meaning that's hiding in what's left unsaid. So think about it. What is it that gives a film that kind of lasting power? That secret ingredient that makes it stick in your mind for days, weeks, or even years? I'll give you a hint. It's rarely just a clever plot twist or some witty lines. The real magic is usually buried a little deeper. That's right. The moments in cinema that really hit you, the ones that give you goosebumps, they often happen in the quiet, in the spaces between the words. So we're going to explore how unspoken themes, and especially the deliberate use of silence, can create a film's deepest and most unforgettable impact. Here's our game plan. We'll kick things off with the existential dread simmering in Bong Joon-ho's masterpiece, Parasite. Then we'll dive into the whole idea of cinematic silence, see how it creates meaning in the film, and finish up by giving you a brand new way to listen to movies. Okay, let's jump right in with our case study, Parasite. Now, on the surface, it's an absolutely brilliant thriller about class warfare, right? But if you look just a little bit closer, it's this incredibly profound meditation on what it means to be human. To really get what Bong Joon-ho is doing, we first need a quick primer on existentialism. It's basically a philosophy that grapples with a huge question. If the universe doesn't have some grand built-in meaning, then how are we supposed to live? And the core idea is that we have to create our own meaning through the choices we make, especially when those choices feel completely impossible. Parasite visualizes this perfectly by using physical space. You've got the Kims stuck in this semi-basement, literally beneath the wealthy Parks. And look at how a single event, a rainstorm, plays out. For the Parks, it's just a refreshing drizzle. But for the Kims, it's an absolute catastrophe, a flood that destroys everything. This isn't just about money. It highlights two completely separate, parallel realities. So, what do the Kims do? They make a choice. The philosopher Jean-Paul Sartre would have called this radical freedom. Their elaborate con isn't just about survival. It's a bold act of will, pushing back against a system that's designed to keep them down. But, and this is a big but, that choice has a massive cost. By living this lie, they start to lose their real selves, and they end up spiraling into even deeper despair. And that brings us to the movie's absolutely heartbreaking ending. Ki-woo is just dreaming, fantasizing about one day buying that house to free his father. It's a completely delusional hope against impossible odds. This right here perfectly captures a core existential idea known as the absurd, that constant clash between our very human need for meaning and a cold, indifferent universe that offers none. So Parasite communicates this incredibly deep sense of dread without ever spelling it out for us. The question is, how? How does it make us feel all of this? Well, that leads us right to our second big idea, the incredible power of cinematic silence. Now, when we say cinematic silence, we don't just mean things get quiet. No, this is an active, artistic choice. It's a tool that filmmakers carefully construct to make us feel something very specific, whether that's heart-pounding tension, crushing isolation, or just a moment of deep reflection. Silence in film isn't a void. It's a statement. The legendary French director Robert Bresson put it perfectly with this little paradox. Think about it for a second. Before movies had sound, they weren't truly silent. You could say they were just deaf. Audiences would imagine the sounds themselves. It was only when sound was finally added to film that the absence of sound, real, intentional silence, could suddenly be used to create contrast and meaning. And of course, this whole idea evolved with technology. In the early days, you had live music just to drown out the noisy projector. Then, bam, 1927, the jazz singer arrives with synchronized sound, and it completely blew people's minds. But the real game changer for silence came in the 70s with Dolby. By getting rid of all that background hiss, it gave filmmakers the power to create pure, crystal clear, intentional silence for the very first time. All right, so now it's time to connect the dots. We've got these heavy existential themes of alienation and despair from Parasite on one hand, and we've got this incredible tool of cinematic silence on the other. So how exactly do they work together? Well, here's the big connection, the main takeaway. Silence is the sound of alienation. It's that simple. When a character feels isolated, unheard, or powerless, a filmmaker can use silence to pull us right into their head. We don't just see their loneliness on screen, we actually feel it in the quiet. Let's go back to the Kim family's apartment. One source calls it a spatial metaphor for being stuck on the margins of society. The sounds of that home, or really the lack thereof, are just as crucial. The quiet moments in that cramped, dark space aren't peaceful at all. They're heavy, loaded with the crushing weight of their despair and powerlessness. And the contrast in the sound design is just brilliant. The Kim's world is porous. All the chaos from the street just pours into their home, a constant reminder that they have no control, no privacy. The Park's world, on the other hand, is like a fortress of quiet. Their silence isn't empty, it's a luxury item. It's the sound of privilege, a shield protecting them from the harsh reality the Kims have to live in every single day. So, you see, when we understand both the philosophical ideas at play and the technical craft of silence, we can appreciate a film like Parasite on a whole other level. And the cool part is, you can start applying this new lens to any film you watch. Here's your new toolkit for how to listen to a film. First off, really listen to the sound of a room. Is it chaotic or is it controlled? What does that tell you? Pay close attention when a movie suddenly cuts from a really loud scene to a silent one. That contrast is always on purpose. When a character is silent, ask yourself why. Is it a sign of power, or are they powerless? And finally, notice how long a quiet moment lasts. That duration can build tension, or it can invite you to think. It turns out the greatest stories are often told in the quiet spaces that surround the words. So the next time you're watching a movie and the sound suddenly drops out, don't just wait for it to come back. Lean in. Ask yourself, what is this silence trying to tell me? What will you listen for?